If you could gaze down upon the Mediterranean in the year 1325, you would discern a young man of 21. He is riding a donkey in solitude, slowly departing from his hometown of Tangier, Morocco. He has no retinue, no vast fortune, and perhaps not even a fleeting thought of whether he would ever return. His name is Ibn Battuta. Tonight, by the gentle flicker of the hearth, let us journey through this effortless narrative into his true life. Over the next 29 years, he would traverse a staggering 121,000 kilometers, nearly crossing the entire known world of his time. He was once plundered by pirates until he was left with nothing but his undergarments, yet he also served as a noble judge in the opulent courts of sultans. He trekked through cities ravaged by the plague and slumbered under the starlit canopy of the Sahara. When people later compared him to Marco Polo, he merely offered a faint smile. For while Marco Polo traveled for the sake of commerce, he journeyed simply to behold the vast, magnificent world fashioned by the Creator. The initial impetus for his odyssey was, in truth, nothing more than a common pilgrimage to the Holy Lands. Born into a family of legal scholars, Ibn Battuta was destined to lead a tranquil life in his small town. However, the moment he stepped beyond his threshold, the overwhelming realization of the world's vastness devoured his sense of complacency. Along the endless coastlines of North Africa, he first felt the sting of wind-blown sand against his skin. He joined a colossal camel caravan, where the long shadows cast by the beasts in the twilight became his first companions. One must remember that medieval travel was no romantic excursion. Behind every dune and hillock, death could be lying in wait. Yet, he possessed a singular gift, a profound adaptability and an innate respect for diverse cultures. Beneath the shadow of the lighthouse of Alexandria, he heard whispers of legends from the far reaches of the East. In the boisterous bazaars of Cairo, he learned the art of maintaining a rational gaze amidst a sea of strangers. He discovered that as long as one is open-hearted and abides by local customs, the world is far less exclusionary than imagined. This revelation acted as a spark that ignited his soul, transforming a simple pilgrimage into a lifelong, boundless expedition. Ibn Battuta's footsteps began to veer eastward, into the legendary lands of the Fertile Crescent. On rainy nights in Syria, he lay beneath the porticos of ancient mosques, listening to the rhythmic patter of rain against cold marble. He began to chronicle everything he beheld, the garden-like boulevards of Damascus, and the profound silence of 10,000 souls during the pilgrimage to Mecca. He was not merely a wayfarer, he was a keen observer of society. In various cities, he served as a temporary jurist, settling local disputes with his erudite legal training. This status granted him access to the very sanctums of power, where he dined with sultans and debated philosophy and astronomy. Yet, regardless of the opulence of the tents he occupied, he remained a disciplined sojourner. He refused to be tethered by land or seduced by riches, even when monarchs offered lavish fortunes to entice him to stay. This insatiable craving for freedom led to many narrow escapes from the jaws of death. He clung to shattered deck planks in the tempests of the Red Sea and evaded the blades of brigands in the wastes of Yemen. Each deliverance bestowed upon him a crystalline understanding of life, as fluid and transparent as running water. A true sense of profound isolation descended during his long years in India and the Maldives. The Delhi Sultanate was a realm of both extreme extravagance and utter brutality. Ibn Battuta spent 8 years there, witnessing how power could drive men to madness and how faith could forge an unbreakable resilience. Longing to escape that gilded cage, he accepted a mission as an envoy to the East. In the archipelagos of the Maldives, he experienced a period of surreal tranquility. There were crystalline blue waters and the serene shade of coconut palms. He was persuaded by the locals to stay, eventually being compelled to serve as their chief judge, where he even started a family. On those tropical nights, he would often sit upon the sands, watching the moonlight dance upon the Indian Ocean while yearning for the fig trees of his homeland. Yet, he still chose to bid farewell. Even in that earthly paradise, the soul of the wanderer within him continued to scream for the horizon. He abandoned his newfound family and his comfortable status, casting himself once more into unknown sea lanes. He believed that for a true traveler, the only destination is the road that has no end. By the time Ibn Battuta finally embarked on the journey back to Morocco, he was a man past 50. His return coincided with the Black Death sweeping across the globe. Countless familiar cities had been transformed into ghostly husks. He witnessed firsthand how once mighty civilizations appeared fragile and powerless before the plague. This stark contrast of fates infused his narrative with a sense of weary compassion and deep insight. When he finally reached Tangier, his parents had long since departed the world, and few in his hometown even remembered him. He returned to his starting point like a specter, yet he bore the immense weight of the entire world. Emperors of the north, Persian nobles, and African chieftains had all become phantoms in his memory. Under the patronage of the Sultan, he began to dictate his memoirs, known famously as the Rihla, the Travels. He did not embellish his courage nor shy away from his fears. He simply used a measured, steady tone to reconstruct an authentic medieval world. He made humanity realize that even on this fractured planet, curiosity and kindness remain a common language. Ibn Battuta ultimately served as a judge in a small Moroccan town until he passed away peacefully. He left behind no mountains of gold or silver, only a manuscript that has been read for 600 years. The sunrises he witnessed at the ends of the earth and the whispers of the wind he heard in silent deserts have crystallized into eternity. To answer the riddle of the prologue, why did he leave? Because he discovered that life itself is a pilgrimage with no final destination. If you feel lost at this moment, remember that 21-year-old youth who set out on the back of a donkey. The world is vast. And you are not alone, for someone once walked through a night far more distant and darker than this. Do you now feel that expansive, tranquil power that spans across mountains and seas? You may now sleep in peace. The sound of camel bells outside has faded into the distance, leaving only the steady comfort of this room. May your dreams be as magnificent and serene as the exotic nights chronicled by Ibn Battuta. Good night.